they do die here, I'm not going to lie to you. That's great for business. I'll say it again. Death is great for business at the Heart Attack Grill.
Alright, so in the Martin Sedupin's reaction video that I last uploaded, there was a clip where he passed by a Heart Attack Grill in Las Vegas. Basically the only place that I personally know that restaurant exists, because it was featured in the news I think a couple of years ago where I think it was one or perhaps multiple people died there, or at least had a heart attack, as it is advertised. And the owner of the grill, John Basso, some Lex Luthor looking dude, basically became like known as an actual supervillain, because he was being straightforward with what was advertised on the plaque, like, if you're eating here, you're going to die. I found that to be kind of comical, but also sort of evil, but also I guess he didn't lie. He was honest about it. But yeah, it was just a really strange situation to hear something like that on the news. And I just marked this as being like the place where you need to visit in Vegas if you want to die. There's of course the opportunity of doing so in an ambulance.
I'm sorry, what?
Imagine passing out from a night of heavy drinking and then waking up somewhere in an ambulance with the medic trying to feed you Vegas blood. No, thank you. That's not the type of bingo that I want to have. I'd much rather go to the Heart Attack Grill and actually pay for my death, very much like the ambulance. At least there I will be passing out on my own terms. But we have a video here by Sonny B2 on the most, or at least the unhealthiest restaurant in America. Let's check it out.
When John Basso first opened the Heart Attack Grill, he had no idea that serving the world's unhealthiest menu would come with so much controversy, countless lawsuits, an avalanche of bad press, and multiple heart attacks.
Oh, that's the clip.
Prior to opening the Heart Attack Grill in 2005, Basso owned 3 different exercise gyms over a 12-year period, where he had advised clients on their dietary and exercise needs, as well as on techniques of caloric reduction.
Hold on. He's an actual supervillain. As far as villain origin goes, this is right up there. Dude. You can't make this stuff up.
However, he felt this was an untruthful line of work, stating, "It's disgusting because you're promising people things that are outside their genetic possibility. Instead of being a slimy, crooked, dishonest peddler of health and fitness services, I would actually launch a hamburger concept that would be absolutely honest, and that's the only guiding principle."
Hold on. You don't need to be a slimy fitness instructor just like the influencers of today. You can do it by normal means if you are an actual dietitian. Recommend people things that they actually are going to need to consume. Fat people need to obviously eat a lot more, and just don't lie to them. Be honest with what they actually need to do. They don't want to hear it, but that's what they actually need. Not to die of a heart attack. But no, dude pretty much pulled the card of, if you can't beat them, kill them.
Hey, this is bad for you, and it's gonna kill you.
The first Heart Attack Grill in Arizona featured a front door sign reading, "Caution, this establishment is bad for your health," before they'd later add cash only because you might die before the check clears. Inside, they'd proudly display the catchphrase "taste worth dying for." However, the most insane piece of signage was without a doubt this, reading, "Anyone over 350 pounds eats for free all day, every day, unlimited."
That's foul. That's foul. Like, okay, I can understand where this is going, right? He's trying to do like some type of reverse psychology, or perhaps just actually teaching them that it is bad for you. But isn't this just encouraging people? That's like Pavlovian conditioning. At least that's how I see it. I may be completely wrong here, but we'll see the outcome.
With the only rules being no taking food to go, no sharing with others, and does not include beverages, although this wasn't the only unlimited service offered by the restaurant.
Instead of a salad bar, there's an all-you-can-eat flatliner fries bar.
To serve the free meals, Basso took a tip from Hooters by hiring a bunch of sexy nurses, with a theme of honesty also extending into the job application process, with questions such as whether the applicant has an innie or outie belly button, who would they have a hot one-night stand with, their opinion on certain conspiracy theories, and a comment stating no one gives a damn about your academic achievements, but if you want to bore us with them, go right ahead.
You know what? I'm calling it right here. In the March video, I joked that California is like one of the good stages that one can have as a trial as to what encompasses America as a whole. Right now, I think that visiting the Heart Attack Grill is basically a fast track in becoming an American stereotype. Like, this over-encompasses everything that, let's say, the European mind cannot understand.
As the head of the restaurant, John spends every day dressed as a doctor, stating, "We promote nicotine, alcohol, caffeine, fat, cholesterol, sodium, all the building blocks of a quality, healthy, good time," with these insane statements leading to his first appearance on a local news station.
Whoa.
There is a restaurant in Tempe where the food is so rich they call their big burger the quadruple bypass. Not everybody thinks that's funny, least of all the Arizona Board of Nursing.
The news story then stated that the American Nursing Board had received 5 or 6 complaints about them calling their waitresses nurses. However, 5 or 6 complaints was a small price to pay, given the story was basically free advertising.
All right, so if
Yeah,
you want
of
to bypass,
course.
of course, the good kind, now you know where to go. It's called the Heart Attack Grill.
This then turned into further news coverage, where John explained the other ways in which the restaurant might kill you.
We don't do Diet Coke. We don't do light beers. We don't even provide lettuce on our burgers.
With the unique approach beating all of their competitors.
John, this is creating a firestorm. I have a feeling this is just what you wanted.
Well, I can't
course.
say that I don't enjoy the publicity. It definitely does pack the seats in the restaurant. We've been so lucky as of recently, our web traffic exceeds McDonald's.com.
After noticing that media stories help the business grow, that attempt to set the Guinness World Record for the world's unhealthiest burger, achieving such with the 9,982 calorie quadruple bypass burger, although this gluttonous piece of food would be served with a side of tragedy.
Yeah, what I thunk. It's 9,000 cal. Dude. Okay, I'll give you an example. Like, I'm what some would consider to be a big dude. The camera might not make it look like it, but if I were to show you a picture of me flexing, I'm definitely up there. In a competition, after not straight off starving myself because I was doing like a very keto diet at the time where I competed, so I didn't feel hungry basically. But up till the last 2 days onto the competition, it hit me hard. Like, my energy levels were so low. But after that was the first time that I ever went through what some would compare to be like one of those 10,000 calories challenge. I couldn't make it. I literally couldn't make it, despite me being used to eating like a ketogenic diet. We're talking about things like macadamia nuts, like 100 gram of those, it's like 600 calories. It's nothing, and you have to stuff yourself, right? I was unable to get through it. So when I'm hearing that people are able to eat one burger, sure, it's a big one, but 9,000 calories. Fuck, you are wanting to kill yourself. Cue in the lightning like low tier god. Now!
The Heart Attack Grill had introduced a spokesperson named Blair River, who at 6'8", 570 pounds appeared in all of the restaurant's
Peak male performance.
ads.
I'm up another few inches. Who needs these old pants? I could eat for free.
In a 2011 news report, Blair talked about feeling incredibly healthy.
This is good stuff. Everyone should be modern sized like myself.
However, he passed
Modern
away before the
size?
interview even aired.
Sadly,
I like the humor,
we
though.
now know how long that was. Blair died last week at the age of 29. His family says the cause of death was pneumonia.
He's 20. I'm 28, guys. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. Like, I know it's like, oh, but it's his own fault. They do this to themselves. Don't let them do this. Like, sure, the addict is going to drink himself to death, but there are people behind that actually do care.
Even in death, the Heart Attack Grill maintained their brutally honest branding.
Had he have been thinner, he most probably would have survived that pneumonia.
Aren't you glorifying obesity, which obviously kills?
Absolutely.
With Basso taking this even further in a different interview.
If they do die here, I'm not going to lie to you. That's great for business. I'll say it again. Death is great for business at the Heart Attack Grill.
Although the media's goal of discrediting the founder only did the opposite.
Of course it will. Dude hasn't lied. I think that we pretty much all have an inclination to accepting and, to a certain degree, even appreciating brutal honesty. It's still evil, but it's honest.
It's actually refreshing to see someone so painfully honest. The owner is great, he makes no apologies, nor should he. You can't blame him for people doing this to themselves. It's impossible to hate this guy because he's being 100% honest. In a different interview, Basso showed his more compassionate side by stating, "Cynical people might think this, River's death, is funny, but people who knew him are crying their eyes out. There is a lot of mourning going on around here. You couldn't have found a better person. Even if he was skinny, we would have given him the job. We would have just put a fat suit on him. He just had personality, as did the restaurant's next spokesperson, Ernie Hart, who
also
wouldn't last long either, although for a slightly different reason." In October 2011, Basso moved the restaurant to the land of indulgence, pleasure, and poor short-term choices, Las Vegas. The new and improved restaurant featured a public electronic cattle scale, as well as new signage reading "Fighting Anorexia since 2005" and "Send hate mail to," followed by their address. The new location also led to a brand new slogan,
"Remember, the calories you eat in Vegas, stay in Vegas,"
as well as an instant increase in business.
Because yeah, you won't be leaving unless you're on the stretcher. Oh god, this man is, he's on his evil time right now.
We've both doubled in terms of money, in terms of square footage.
However, the craziest change was without a doubt their menu. Despite their quadruple bypass already holding the record for the highest calorie burger, the Heart Attack Grill then doubled their invention, creating
I wonder how many YouTubers went in to try this. Like the Epic Mealtime guys, Matt Stoney, Chris Electric. I actually like some of these guys because well, at least one of them was skinny and tried to gain weight, and the rest had to deal with eating disorders afterwards. But like, I appreciated some of their videos. But man, this is like prime for them to try.
The octuple bypass burger, which featured 8 patties, 40 pieces of bacon, and 19,900 calories. At around the same point in time, the Heart Attack Grill updated their website to include free video and images for the press, where the motivation for the octuple bypass burger became pretty obvious. They were trying to generate media attention, and this is exactly what they got. The new burger led to over 100 million views.
Speaking of which, Mastoni and Nico Caro Avocado, of course. Oh my god, look how it looked before then! Oh! Look at this man!
Worth of exposure on YouTube, as different content creators visited the restaurant to see if they could eat it. Those who could, such as Matt Stoney, were given a ride out of the restaurant in a novelty wheelchair, although there were others who were forced to leave in an ambulance.
A customer at the Heart Attack Grill was rushed to the hospital after eating a sandwich called the Triple Bypass Burger.
In February 2012, an article was published titled "Man Has Heart Attack While Eating at the Heart Attack Grill," which is followed by another article only 2 months later reading, "Heart Attack Grill lives up to its name again this week when a woman collapsed in their Las Vegas restaurant. This marks the second person to fall victim to their horrifically caloric food in less than a year, with the Heart Attack Grill responding in the most brand appropriate way by bragging about it on their website. 2 ambulance departures in less than 60 days left an indelible mark on the Heart Attack Grill's public image. Dr. John delivered a clear message to the media that such tragedies shall inevitably continue due to having clientele which he refers to as being the avant-garde of nutritional risk takers.
Did that heart attack pad my wallet with money? Absolutely. Did I enjoy that? Absolutely.
Although this is still nothing compared to what would happen 1 year later. The Heart Attack Grill had a new unofficial spokesperson named John Alleman, who was recognized as the restaurant's most loyal customer. He never missed a day, even on Christmas, Basso said. People just loved him. He connected with people in a real way, although all of this changed on the 11th of February 2013. After chowing down on his daily feed at the grill, John John Ellerman suffered a heart attack and died while waiting for the bus at the front of the store. This led to Basso's craziest PR stunt to date.
They'll say it's grotesque. They'll say, how can you keep the man's cremation here?
With Basso keeping the cremation inside the restaurant as he wants you to know his food kills so that maybe you'll stop eating junk.
Isn't this what I said at the beginning of the video? Like, I can see it being him trying to pull out a certain moral out of it. Which initially you will think, sure, is smart. But it's like, imagine this as an analogy, right? A bit of an extreme. Think of, who should we pick here? What's his name? Mahatma Gandhi, the poster boy of pacifism, right? Imagine him, instead of not retaliating, actually engaging in like nuclear programs, nuking his surrounding countries, and being like, yeah, I scorched the earth to teach them that peace is always an option, that war will eventually kill you. Like, bro, you did the deed, he's dead. Like, I don't know, guys, I might be completely wrong with this. I get it, it's, it's so fucking dumb. But I get where he's coming from, but it's also, it's disturbing. It's disturbing. But I can't help myself from laughing at this because it's so cartoonish.
This man is willing to sacrifice his reputation and maybe even his humanity to try and make the world a healthier place. I respect him for it. Basso believes the restaurant helps customers to reflect on their own choices, having stated anybody who's over 350 pounds gets on that scale. We applaud them like the big sumo wrestler they are, treat them like a champ, make them feel good for that moment, give them free food all they want. But these people go home at night and they ponder that and say, wow, why did I just get free food and have the whole restaurant applauding for me? Because I'm a freak, plain and simple.
Hopefully. That is hopefully what you expect will happen once they get home. Because if it's not, they are just thinking, that was a nice ass meal. See you again tomorrow.
Before adding, I'm running an obesity intervention and I think it works. I really do. Everybody should check out our Facebook and see a lot of people say, hey Dr. John, I've lost 82 pounds since the last time I was in. It's the X factor, something that snapped in that person that said, wow, I'm gonna make a change in my life, and they did, and that's fabulous. With this sentiment also showing up in the YouTube comments. The Heart Attack Grill restaurant has motivated me to take care of myself, stick to my diet. The namesake restaurant actually sends a very positive message. If you don't take care of yourself today, you might find yourself eating a free meal at my restaurant in the not so distant future, because everyone over 350 pounds eats for free, and therefore Basso believes the restaurant is an overall positive.
I am a believer that when people hear my message, the net health benefit to society is incredibly good.
However, you won't be surprised to hear that not everybody agrees.
He's deliberately trying to get people to eat more than they need.
With this being echoed by the legendary Anthony Bourdain, who stated, there is a restaurant in Vegas, I think it's called the Heart Attack Grill, where if you're over 350 pounds you eat for free. I think that should be pretty much a war crime. On top of this, a former waitress went public talking about her terrible time working at the restaurant, explaining that after a man passed out mid-meal, a manager made me take out my cell phone to record a video of the whole thing so they could send it to the media.
See? That's the exploitative part of it. That's not alright. No. That is just disturbing. That was scatter person.
It was on a Friday afternoon, and he hoped it would make the news so they could have a busy weekend. On the opposite end of the spectrum, a different waitress stated this.
I've been here 11 years. I enjoy this way too much.
So the experience clearly depends on which person you ask. In a different instance, the PCRM sent a letter to Basso asking him to declare moral bankruptcy and close the Heart Attack Grill. However, given the restaurant earned $5.5 million in revenue last year, it seems obvious that Dr. John Basso and the Heart Attack Grill won't be going anywhere anytime soon.
Dude accepted to hit it on Demon Time and won there since 2006. What a menace. I know that this is a me problem, but I always have issues of like just going with the flow of people that are portraying themselves as being lawfully evil. Like the person that decides to be the villain so that things get done. It's a weird concept to me still to this day. Like I can get it in comic books because I know it's comic books, but God damn. Because at the end of the day, what I view as the issue is not necessarily that a person is close to 300 pounds and has to make a sacrifice or need to get that, like, one X factor, as one of the comments mentioned there, to turn their lives around. But, like, just promoting healthy practices from a young age is going to be the thing that helps a lot of people. Because in many cases, even if somebody is getting to that 300 pounds and suddenly gets that shift and start actually working out and losing weight, which they actually do pretty damn quickly when you are up in that type of weight, sometimes the methods that they go with that are kind of drastic, that may actually cause them to relapse, and or in some cases they then die. Or we will see cases like what has been showcased mostly in the video of people just continuing on that track and then passing out again. Now, I'm not going to pretend to be a dietitian here, but I think that the crux of the problem usually has been that largely in the Western world, healthy eating has become very expensive. Like, there are, of course, many reasons for that. The fact that produce being picked up by hand, come from machines, adds to a higher cost. For example, every second Sundays of the second Sundays of the month, we like go to a certain shop where ecological produce, stuff that has next to zero pesticide involved in them, are sold for way cheaper. Then we can fill it with fresh greens and all that into a freezer, and then you start instead, right? Because it saves us a lot of cost. Sure, it's super expensive, but like creating these habits of just maintaining things healthier is a lot more helpful in my opinion. But again, this kind of like on a privileged standpoint of a guy who has been skinny but never fat nor even obese in my life, so I can only speak for experiences of having helped other people who have struggled with weight and going on the merry fitness journey. Like, you hear something like that on the news and you think to yourself, okay, that's a once in a lifetime case. You have just a boss who is too high on his horse, but no, he had a message. He did convey his message, but he was evil. But damn,